In the quaint town of Newbridge, nestled amidst rolling hills and babbling brooks, there dwelled a young girl named Sarah. Her imagination knew no bounds, forever captivated by visions of winning the grand lottery. It consumed her thoughts, weaving a tapestry of fantasies wherein wealth and abundance reigned supreme. Then, as if the universe had heeded her heart's deepest desires, Sarah's dreams transformed into tangible reality. The stars aligned, and the universe bestowed upon her an extraordinary windfall. The lottery had chosen her as its favored recipient, gifting her with an opulent sum beyond her wildest dreams. Ecstasy coursed through her veins, electrifying her senses and lifting her spirits to celestial heights. Filled with jubilation, Sarah resolved to commemorate this auspicious occasion with her closest companions. The lively streets of Newbridge beckoned, offering a plethora of venues where mirth and laughter flowed freely. Together with her friends, she embarked on a night of revelry and unbridled delight, savoring every moment of her newfound prosperity. Yet, unbeknownst to Sarah, her elation would be short-lived, for the shadows of the past were about to cast their ominous presence upon her path. A haunting specter from her history emerged, clawing its way back into her life. It took the form of her ex-boyfriend, Mark, whose envy had fermented into a poisonous brew of resentment and obsession. Mark's heart seethed with a toxic concoction of jealousy and covetousness. He could not bear the thought of Sarah reveling in the spoils of fortune without him by her side. Driven by a delusion that wealth could mend the shattered fragments of their relationship, he vowed to reclaim her heart by any means necessary. Little did Sarah know that the man she had once loved had descended into the depths of madness. His love had curdled into a grotesque parody of possessiveness and control, the very traits that had torn them apart in the first place. In her naivety, Sarah had believed that time had healed his wounds and that he had moved on. But the darkness within Mark's soul hungered for Sarah's affection, twisting his intentions into a monstrous, insatiable obsession. He shadowed her every step, lurking in the corners of her world, a sinister presence that refused to be ignored. Fear coiled around Sarah's heart, tightening its grip with each encounter, but she felt powerless against the force of his malevolence. Nightfall descended upon Newbridge, casting its shroud of foreboding over the tranquil town. Sarah found herself alone within the sanctuary of her home, the solitude amplifying her unease. The house creaked and groaned, as if whispering chilling tales of the past, heightening her senses to a state of hypervigilance. A deafening knock echoed through the corridors, its resonance ricocheting through Sarah's fragile nerves. She approached the door with trepidation, her fingers trembling as she turned the handle, revealing Mark's menacing silhouette. In his hand, a glint of steel gleamed malevolently, a knife gripped with wicked intent. Terror gripped Sarah's heart, paralyzing her in a moment of desperate vulnerability. Her survival instinct roared to life, surging through her veins, propelling her to fight for her very existence. Her gaze darted around the room, searching for a weapon, finding solace in the weight of a porcelain vase perched upon a nearby table. Summoning every ounce of courage she possessed, Sarah seized the vase, her grip tightening around its delicate form. In a desperate bid for salvation, she swung it with all her might, shattering the fragile vessel against Mark's skull. Pain twisted his features, contorting his visage into a grotesque mask of agony. He crumpled to the ground, defeated, and Sarah's trembling hands sought her phone, dialing the number that would summon salvation. In the depths of despair, she found solace in the arrival of the police, their timely intervention snuffing out the threat that had plagued her existence. Mark was arrested, his reign of terror brought to a definitive end. The ordeal had scarred Sarah's spirit, etching its haunting memory upon her very soul. From that day forward, Sarah's life became a dance with fear, a delicate balancing act between the remnants of her past and the promise of a future unburdened by darkness. She recognized that wealth could never purchase safety or true happiness, that its allure was but a fleeting illusion. Seeking solace and healing, she embarked on a journey of self-discovery, seeking therapy to unravel the tangled threads of trauma that had woven their way into her psyche. In time, the tendrils of Newbridge's memories loosened their grip upon Sarah's heart. Fueled by an indomitable spirit, she chose to sever the ties that bound her to the place that held so much pain. With an air of quiet determination, she bid farewell to the town that had witnessed both her dreams and her nightmares, and set forth on a quest to forge a new existence. In a distant corner of the world, Sarah found solace amidst a tapestry of unfamiliar faces and unexplored territories. She nurtured her wounded spirit, tending to its scars with tender care. In the embrace of a fresh beginning, she discovered the strength to craft a life shaped by resilience and the pursuit of genuine happiness. The tale of Sarah, the girl who once dreamed of winning the lottery, now held a different resonance. It became a testament to the indomitable human spirit, the enduring ability to rise from the ashes of despair and rewrite the script of one's life. In the forgotten corners of a dreary city, where shadows danced in the alleys and whispers of despair echoed through the wind, there lived a man named Steve. He was a twisted soul, his very existence mired in the depths of malevolence and selfishness. Like a sinister puppeteer, he manipulated the lives of those around him, savoring the pain he inflicted with a sadistic glee. Steve reveled in the darkness, for it was his playground, and the suffering of others his twisted currency. One bleak and rain-soaked evening, as the city sighed under the weight of its own sorrow, Steve found himself wandering aimlessly through its desolate streets. The flickering neon lights reflected in his hollow eyes, casting an eerie glow upon his pallid face. It was then, amidst the discarded dreams and forgotten hopes, that he spotted a tattered piece of paper lying haphazardly on the sodden ground. His heart quickened with a blend of curiosity and greed as he bent down to examine the object that fate had placed before him. With trembling hands, Steve picked up the weathered document, his fingers tracing the faded ink that adorned its surface. It was a lottery ticket, worn and frayed, as if it had endured a lifetime of neglect. Yet, there was a glimmer of possibility in those scratched numbers, a tantalizing promise of wealth and power that beckoned to him like a siren's call. Fueled by avarice and a hunger for more, Steve pocketed the lottery ticket, a malevolent smile creeping across his lips. Little did he know that this seemingly insignificant piece of paper would be the catalyst for a series of events that would test the very fabric of his existence, pushing him to the edge of his sanity and beyond. As the days unfolded, a sinister shadow seemed to cast its veil over Steve's life. It started with subtle disturbances, as if the world itself was recoiling from the malevolence that had thrived within him for so long. The city streets, once his dominion, now whispered secrets he could not decipher. His treasured possessions withered and decayed, their once glamorous allure reduced to nothing but faded memories. It began with his beloved luxury car, a symbol of his ill-gotten success. Its engine roared defiantly as he drove away from the lottery office, his mind already intoxicated with grandiose visions of opulence. But fate had other plans. In a cruel twist of irony, the car sputtered and wheezed, its engine dying a slow and agonizing death. Stranded on the side of the road, Steve was left to ponder the first taste of misfortune that had befallen him. Undeterred by this setback, Steve embarked on a late-night stroll, hoping to clear his mind and cast off the growing unease that gnawed at his conscience. But as he ventured deeper into the labyrinthine streets, he became acutely aware of the eyes that followed his every move, lurking within the darkness. Before he could react, he found himself surrounded by shadowy figures, their intentions as wicked as his own. They pounced upon him with a savage hunger, leaving him battered, bruised, and devoid of his ill-gotten gains. Steve's luxurious mansion, once a fortress of his arrogance, now became a theater for the macabre. A storm, born from the fury of nature itself, descended upon the opulent structure, reducing it to a hollow shell of shattered dreams. Thunder roared, lightning illuminated the night sky, and rain poured relentlessly through the shattered windows, washing away the remnants of Steve's illusory empire. And then, in the midst of the chaos, tragedy struck the final blow. His loyal companion, a faithful dog that had been the only source of warmth and affection in his wretched life, fell silent and lifeless. The cause of its demise remained a mystery, an enigma that gnawed at Steve's consciousness, whispering of retribution and divine justice. At first, Steve dismissed these incidents as mere coincidences, the result of random misfortune. But as the relentless onslaught of tragedy continued unabated, he could no longer deny the malevolent force that had taken hold of his life. He became a shell of his former self, haunted by paranoia and consumed by an overwhelming fear of the unknown. His once vibrant existence crumbled, reduced to a barren wasteland of shattered dreams and shattered illusions. Time passed, and as the weight of his sins pressed upon him with relentless force, Steve found himself standing at the precipice of his own demise. He was a broken man, stripped of his illusions of power and faced with the harsh reality of his own mortality. It was then, in the twilight of his existence, that he reached a startling realization. All the pain he had inflicted upon others, the lives he had torn asunder, had finally caught up with him. The lottery ticket, once a beacon of false hope, had become his curse, a conduit for the forces of retribution. With a heavy heart burdened by remorse, Steve made a desperate attempt to seek redemption. He vowed to divest himself of his tainted wealth, to channel his ill-gotten gains towards acts of compassion and benevolence. But it was too late. The darkness that had consumed him had already taken its toll, his body weakened and ravaged by the weight of his sins. As Steve took his final breath, his soul slipping away into the abyss, a chill wind swept through the desolate cemetery where he would find his eternal rest. It whispered hauntingly, carrying with it a voice that seemed to echo from beyond the veil of death itself. "Karma has spoken," it murmured, a somber reminder of the inescapable consequences of one's actions. From that day forward, the tale of Steve's tragic demise became a cautionary legend, passed down through generations. People spoke in hushed tones, warning one another never to trust the tales of a cursed lottery ticket, for it was but a sinister trap that ensnared the unwary. Steve's tale stood as a grim reminder that wealth and power were but hollow illusions, incapable of bringing true happiness or shielding one from the judgment of the universe. It taught them that our actions, no matter how dark or fleeting, always bore consequences, and that the price of redemption was often paid with one's very soul.
I hope you enjoy the content I upload. If you like what I'm doing, why not think about clicking on the subscribe button to keep up to date on my uploads. Thank you all for the great support.
Once upon a time, in the small town of Darkville, nestled deep within the shadows of towering trees, there lived a man named John. John was an ordinary man, leading a mundane life until one fateful day when his world took a drastic turn. It was a chilly autumn evening when John received the life-altering news that he had won the lottery, forever altering the course of his existence. With newfound wealth burning a hole in his pocket, John's thoughts turned to the grandiose. He dreamed of a life of opulence, where he could leave behind the mediocrity of his past and embrace a future drenched in luxury. And so, he made a decision that would send ripples through the fabric of his existence. He chose to invest all his money in a massive mansion that had long stood as a decrepit monument to darkness and despair. The mansion, a menacing structure that had withstood the test of time, loomed over Darkville like a brooding sentinel. Locals whispered rumors and tales of its haunted history, cautioning John against making such a purchase. But John, consumed by the allure of grandeur, brushed aside their warnings. To him, the mansion was not a harbinger of doom but a masterpiece of architectural splendor, beckoning him with its dark allure. Unfazed by the macabre reputation of his newfound abode, John moved into the mansion, ready to claim his kingdom. Yet, as the shadows stretched across the hallways and the moon bathed the mansion in an ethereal glow, he soon found himself entangled in a web of inexplicable events that defied reason and sanity. Doors, heavy and imposing, would slam shut with a vengeance, shattering the tranquility of the night. Footsteps, spectral and haunting, echoed through the empty corridors, their origin shrouded in mystery. A bone-chilling breeze would permeate the air, suffusing every room with an otherworldly chill. At first, John dismissed these occurrences as mere figments of his imagination or the natural creaks and groans that accompany the aging of an ancient house. However, one fateful night, as the moon cast its pallid glow upon the mansion, John's complacency shattered like shards of glass. From the depths of the darkness, a thunderous banging erupted, assaulting his ears and rattling his nerves. Gripped by a primal fear, he clutched his phone tightly, its cool touch offering a semblance of comfort, and ascended the stairs to confront the source of the commotion. Every step felt heavier, laden with foreboding, as he climbed higher, his heart pounding against the walls of his chest. Yet, as he reached the upper floor, a disconcerting realization struck him. The doors were locked, and the windows, like mocking sentinels, stood too high to provide an escape. Fear knotted in his stomach, his breath shallow and ragged, he found himself trapped within the labyrinthine corridors of his own torment. With a trembling hand, he pushed open the door to his bedroom, hoping to find solace within its familiar confines. Instead, his eyes widened in terror as they beheld a sight that would forever sear into his consciousness. A dark figure, ethereal and malevolent, lingered at the foot of his bed, its eyes burning with a seething fury that defied the realm of the living. The tendrils of fear clutched at John's heart, squeezing it mercilessly as panic seized his every thought. In a desperate bid for survival, he fled from the room, his feet stumbling over the threshold of sanity, and sought solace in the company of those who studied the supernatural, the local paranormal investigators. Together, they delved into the mansion's sordid past, peeling back layers of forgotten history to uncover the dark secrets that had festered within its walls. Their investigations revealed a chilling truth. The mansion had been built by a notorious serial killer, whose insatiable thirst for blood had transformed it into a sinister hunting ground for his unsuspecting victims. The tale of the killer, now a haunting memory in the annals of Darkville's history, had come to a grisly end when justice finally caught up with him, condemning him to a fate most befitting his heinous deeds. Executed for his crimes, his spirit, tainted by the torment of wrongful conviction, lingered within the mansion, consumed by an insatiable desire for revenge against the living. Terrified and cornered by the relentless specter, John realized the dire truth. He had unwittingly stepped into a realm where the veil between the living and the dead grew thin, a battleground where restless spirits waged a silent war. In a desperate attempt to quell the malevolence that plagued his every waking moment, he hired a legion of security guards to stand as sentinels against the encroaching darkness. Yet, the ghost of the serial killer remained unyielding, its presence an unrelenting reminder of the mansion's sordid past. No number of security guards, armed with their feeble mortal weapons, could stand against the wrath of a vengeful spirit. With each passing night, the spectral entity encroached further upon John's sanity, its whispers a constant torment, its chilling touch a gnarled hand reaching out from beyond the grave. In the grip of despair, John realized that his battle against the supernatural was a futile one. The mansion, steeped in blood-soaked history, had claimed him as its latest victim, ensnaring him within its cold, clammy grip. He had become a puppet in the hands of the ghostly assassin, a mere plaything to be tormented for all eternity. In the end, defeated and broken, John was forced to relinquish his once coveted mansion at a significant loss. He fled from Darkville, leaving behind the looming specter of his past, forever haunted by the dark secrets that had swallowed him whole. The mansion, now a monument to unending darkness, stood as a testament to the horrors that lay hidden beneath the surface of reality. Darkville whispered its tales of woe, the wind carrying the echoes of John's shattered dreams. Legends were woven around the mansion, its halls a silent chorus of lost souls. Those who dared venture near its foreboding gates would catch glimpses of the restless dead, their mournful cries carried on the breeze. And as time stretched onward, the mansion became a cautionary tale, a grim reminder that some secrets are best left buried in the depths of forgotten history. The horrors of Darkville's past, tethered to its very foundation, would forever remain etched into the collective memory of those who dared to wander its treacherous path. For John, his life became a twisted thread in the tapestry of Stephen King's nightmares, a mere footnote in the annals of horror. Forever marked by the mansion's malevolent touch, he would forever walk the earth, a ghost of his former self, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead, a testament to the darkness that can consume even the most unsuspecting souls.